90% of the thermostats I've put my hand on were installed in the wrong spot. Never quite feels right. And the strange part is, you don't see it. You feel it. A room that runs 3 degrees off. A furnace that short cycles all winter. A bill that creeps up every month and you blame the weather. The thermostat on your wall is the brain of your whole comfort system. And most of the time, somebody hung it wherever the old wire happened to reach. You're standing in a hallway in a 1990s 2-story outside Columbus. It's January. The furnace is running. You can hear it down in the basement, that low, steady push of air through the ducts. And yet the living room feels cool. Not cold, just wrong. The kind of wrong you can't argue with because there's nothing to point at. You put your palm against the wall by the front door and the thermostat is right there, screwed into the plaster about 4 feet up. It reads 70. You believe it because why wouldn't you? The number's right there in gray digits. Numbers don't lie. Except this one does, every hour of every day, and it's been lying since the house was built. I put my little infrared gun on that wall, 64 degrees. The wall itself, right behind the thermostat, was 6 degrees colder than the air in the middle of the room. And now you start to understand why the furnace won't shut off. The thermostat isn't reading your house. It's reading the cold coming through an exterior wall it was mounted on. I moved my hand a foot to the left, onto the interior partition wall. Warmer. I moved it up above the door, where the warm air pools near the ceiling. Warmer still. The room had 4 temperatures in it, and somebody had chosen the coldest one to hang the brain of the house. Whoever hung that thermostat put it exactly where the wire was already stubbed out from the old doorbell run. Convenient for him, expensive for you. He was done and gone in 10 minutes. You've been paying for those 10 minutes for 20 years. I take the cover off, and there it is. The thing I see in house after house. A hole in the drywall behind the base plate the size of a golf ball, and the thermostat wire coming straight out of it. No seal, no putty, nothing. Just raw wire and a black cavity behind it. That hole runs into the wall cavity, and that wall cavity runs straight down, unbroken, into the basement. So all winter long, cold basement air is being pulled up through the wall by the simple physics of warm air rising and cold air falling, and it washes right across the back of the temperature sensor. The thermostat feels a draft that no human in the room ever feels. It thinks the house is cold, so it runs, and runs. And you sit in a 70-degree room wearing a sweater, wondering why the furnace sounds tired. In 35 years and more than 10,000 inspections, I can count on one hand the time somebody sealed that hole. 5 times. Out of 10,000. It's the single most common thing done wrong on a device that controls 40 to 50% of the entire energy bill of the house. Let me show you the autopsy, piece by piece, because the draft is only the beginning. First, the location. The right wall for a thermostat is an interior wall, roughly the center of the home, 4 to 5 feet off the floor, out of direct sun, away from any supply register, away from the kitchen, away from a lamp, away from a television, away from a doorway that opens to the outside. That's a long list of enemies, and the sensor only needs to meet one of them to start telling stories. What I find instead is the thermostat mounted next to the front door because that's the first stud the electrician hit on his way out, or on the wall directly above a heat register. So every time the furnace kicks on, warm air blows across the sensor. The thermostat thinks the job's done and shuts off early. Then the far bedrooms never catch up. That's the room that's always cold. It's not the furnace. It's a thermostat lying to it from 10 feet away. I've stood in that cold bedroom with the homeowner and watched them point at the vent like the vent did something wrong. The vent's innocent. The vent's just following orders. Second, the sun. I've pulled covers off thermostats mounted on a wall that catches the afternoon sun through a west window. 2 in the afternoon, that sensor is reading 8 degrees warmer than the actual room. The air conditioner fires up in the dead of winter, or the heat quits while the family's still cold and the sun's the only thing warming that patch of drywall. The plastic housing even yellows from it, goes brittle and cream-colored on the sunny side. You can read the history of that wall right there on the case. like rings on a tree. When I see a yellowed thermostat, I already know which way the house faces before I check my compass. Third, the kitchen and the lamp. People forget the small heat sources. A thermostat on the wall near a kitchen doorway catches the heat from the oven and the range every evening, right at dinner time, and quietly shuts the heat down for the whole house while the rest of the rooms cool off. A table lamp with an old incandescent bulb sitting 18 inches below a thermostat will throw enough heat up the wall to fool it by 2 or 3 degrees. I've seen a thermostat mounted directly above a wall-mounted television that ran warm all night. Little things. But the sensor doesn't know they're little. It only knows the air it can feel. Fourth, the wire. Old thermostats ran on 2 wires. Heat on, heat off. Simple. But a modern system, a heat pump, a 2-stage furnace, anything with a smart thermostat needs more. Most of all, it needs what the trade calls the C wire, the common wire, the one that gives the thermostat steady power all day long instead of borrowing it. And this is where the guy paid by the job, not by the hour, cuts his corner. He doesn't want to fish a new wire through a finished wall. That's real work. That's an hour on his knees. So he leaves the C wire off and lets your fancy new thermostat steal little sips of power through the heat wire instead. It's called power stealing. And it's the reason a $200 smart thermostat starts randomly rebooting, dropping its Wi-Fi at midnight, or clicking the furnace on and off in little nervous pulses in the middle of the night. The thermostat isn't broken. You'll send it back, get another one, and that one will do the same thing because it was never given a proper power supply. The part was fine, the install was starved. Fifth, the mounting itself. A thermostat baseplate has to sit flat and plumb against the wall. The old mercury bulb models actually used a tilting vial of liquid metal to make the contact. So if you hung one crooked, it read the temperature wrong by the exact angle of your mistake. I've found them cocked 5 degrees off, held by one screw into crumbling plaster, the second screw hole empty because the anchor stripped and the installer just walked away. And behind nearly every single one of them, that golf ball hole. I've come to expect it the way you expect a stone under a lifted rock. Here's the part that costs you. That thermostat wire, the thin one, the 18 gauge, costs about 40 cents a foot. The tube of fire-rated caulk to seal the hole behind it costs $6 and does 20 thermostats. The right location costs nothing. It's just knowing where to put the thing. So the entire fix, done correctly at build time, is a matter of a few dollars and 10 minutes of a man's attention. 10 minutes. That's the whole price of doing it right. Nobody spent them. Now, the consequence. And this is where the small numbers turn into big ones. A thermostat reading 3 degrees colder than your real room temperature because it's mounted on a cold exterior wall with a draft blowing behind it will run your heat to satisfy a temperature the room never actually needed. Every degree on the heating side of the bill by the Department of Energy's own estimate. 3 degrees of error, running all winter, is easily 6 to 9% of your heating cost. On a home spending $1,600 a year to a year, walking out through a $6 hole nobody sealed. Say you keep the house 12 years. That's better than $1,500, gone, for the lack of one tube of caulk and one thoughtful placement. And the short cycling. When a thermostat mounted over a register keeps snapping the furnace off early, that furnace fires up far more times per hour than it should. 6, 8, 10 times an hour instead of 2 or 3. The most expensive moment in a furnace's life is ignition. That startup surge where the igniter glows white hot and the blower spools up from a dead stop. A system that short cycles wears its igniter, its blower motor, and its heat exchanger years faster than one that runs in long, steady cycles. Think of it like a car that only ever drives one block at a time. Cold start after cold start. A hot surface igniter is $40 to $80, but it's a nuisance call. A blower motor is $400 to $600. A control board is $300 to $500. A cracked heat exchanger is the one that ends the furnace's life entirely. You don't see any of that bill for 8 years. but the badly placed thermostat is what wrote the check the day it went up. But stay with me, because the next part decides whether you pay $6 once or $150 every single winter for the rest of the time you own this house. Why does it happen? The mechanism is simple once you see it. A thermostat is not smart about the room. It is only smart about 1 square inch of air, the air touching its sensor. It assumes that 1 square inch represents your whole home. Every decision it makes, every time it fires the furnace or shuts it down, rests on the assumption that the air at the sensor is the air you're living in. So everything comes down to whether that one spot is telling the truth. An exterior wall lies because it's colder than the room. A sunny wall lies because it's warmer. A wall above a register lies because warm air blows across it. A wall near the kitchen lies at dinner time. A wall with a draft hole behind it lies worst of all, because the temperature at the sensor is being set by basement air, not living room air. The furnace does exactly what it's told. It is obedient and stupid. It has no eyes. It cannot walk into the bedroom and feel that the kids are cold. The intelligence was supposed to come from where you put the sensor, and that intelligence was skipped for 10 minutes of convenience. So here's the rule, and it's not negotiable. The thermostat goes on an interior wall, center of the house, 4 to 5 feet off the floor, and the hole behind it gets sealed. Interior wall, sealed hole. Never an exterior wall, never over a register, never in the sun. Now, the right way. Walk it with me, step by step, because the order matters. Start by turning the power to the furnace off at the breaker. Not the thermostat, the furnace itself. That little wire carries 24 volts, low voltage, but you can short a control board with 1 slip of the screwdriver, and a control board is the most expensive part in the box. Kill the breaker. It costs you nothing, and it saves you a $300 afternoon. Pull the thermostat off its base plate. Take a photo of the wiring first, every colored wire and the letter on the terminal it lands on. R, W, Y, G, C. Write it down on paper too, because phones die. That photo has saved more people from a cold weekend than any tool I own. The colors don't always match the letters either, so trust the terminal, not the color of the jacket. I've seen a white wire on the Y terminal more than once because somebody ran out of the right color and used what was on the truck. Now look at that hole in the wall. This is the step nobody does. Pack it. A little fiberglass or a dab of low-expansion foam to stop the bulk of the air, then fire-rated caulk over the front of it around the wire, sealing right up to the jacket. Don't glue the wire down solid in case you ever need to pull it, but close that gap. You have just cut off the draft that's been fooling your thermostat for 20 years. Put your hand over the spot after, on a cold day, and feel the difference. That's your biggest single gain, and it cost you $6. If your thermostat is on an exterior wall, or over a register, or in the sun, this is the moment to move it. Yes, it means patching the old hole and running the wire to a better spot, on a single story with a basement or an accessible attic. That's a doable afternoon with a fish tape and some patience. Interior wall, center hall, chest height. Away from doors, away from vents, away from that lamp. That one relocation can be worth more than the thermostat itself, and it's a permanent fix. You do it once and the house stops fighting you. Check for that C-wire. Look in the wall cavity or down at the furnace board where the wires land. If there's a blue or a black wire stuffed in there, folded back and taped off unused, you may already have your common wire and just need to land it on the C terminal at both ends. Half the houses I check already have the wire. Somebody just never connected it. 2 minutes and a screwdriver and your smart thermostat stops rebooting. If you don't have one, you have 3 honest choices, and here's your ladder. Good. A basic programmable thermostat, $30 to $50, correctly located and sealed, set to back the temperature down when you sleep and when you're gone all day. The Department of Energy says a proper setback of 7 to 10 degrees for 8 hours a day saves around 10% a year. That's real money from a $50 part, if and only if the sensor is telling the truth. Location first. Always location first. A perfect thermostat on a lying wall is still a liar. Better. A smart thermostat with a proper C-wire run to it. $100 to $180 for the unit, plus the wire. If you're comfortable fishing a wire and you've got attic or basement access, you can do it yourself in an afternoon. This is the setup that learns your schedule, holds it, and lets you see from your phone that the furnace ran 14 hours yesterday when it should have run 6. That data alone tells you when something's wrong. Best. A system with remote room sensors, $200 to $250, where the thermostat stops trusting one spot on the wall and starts averaging the actual rooms you live in, or prioritizing the bedroom at night and the living room in the evening. This is the answer to the bedroom that's always cold, because now the system reads that room directly instead of guessing from the hallway. Add a professional who verifies your system type, confirms the wiring, and runs a real C-wire, and you're at $300 to $400 installed. For a house that's fought its own thermostat for a decade, that's the one I'd point you to. It's the difference between managing the lie and ending it. Here's the honest limitation. A perfect thermostat in a perfect spot will not fix a house that leaks air like a screen door. If your ducts are unsealed and your attic's got 6 inches of settled insulation, the thermostat can only manage the misery, not cure it. The brain can't fix a bleeding body. You'll still be more comfortable and you'll still save, but don't expect a $50 part to overcome a leaky envelope. That's a different day and a different inspection. And here's your Call a Pro line. If you've got a heat pump, or 2-stage or variable speed equipment, or you open that wall and find no C-wire and no easy path to run one, stop. Call a licensed HVAC tech. Miswiring a heat pump thermostat can run the auxiliary heat strips continuously, and those strips can add $100 a month to a winter bill without you ever hearing a difference. Because the house feels fine while the electric meter spins like a top. That's a mistake you feel only when the envelope arrives. Let me tell you about a house in Dayton. Split level, nice family, 2 kids. Their complaint was the classic. Upstairs bedroom's freezing. Thermostat downstairs in the entry hall reading a comfortable 68, furnace running most of the day, and a gas bill north of $220 in the cold months. 3 service calls before me, and every one of them looked at the furnace. One of them nearly sold the family a new one. The furnace was fine. It was practically new. The thermostat was mounted on the wall right beside the front door. Every time somebody came home, every gust against that door, the sensor caught the draft. Behind the base plate, the hole. And the wall behind it was exterior, facing north. It was reading the coldest air in the house and driving the furnace to chase a number it could never reach, while the far bedrooms cooked or froze depending on the hour of the day. We sealed the hole. We moved the thermostat to the interior stairwell wall, center of the home, and we added a remote sensor in the upstairs hall so the system finally knew what the kids' rooms felt like. Materials and a half day of labor, right around $340. Their next full winter month came in at $161, nearly $60 a month back in their pocket, and the kids stopped sleeping in sweatshirts. The furnace they'd nearly replaced never needed a thing. It just needed to be told the truth. So you can pay $6 for a tube of caulk and an afternoon of paying attention. Or you can pay $150 a year, every year, plus a furnace that dies before its time, for the privilege of a thermostat mounted wherever the wire happened to reach. That's the whole choice. It always was. The HVAC guys are going to disagree with me in the comments about power stealing and whether the C-wire really matters. Let them. I only report what I find on the wall. And what I find, 9 times out of 10, is a device hung for the installer's convenience and paid for by the family that lives there. So tell me, go put your hand flat on the wall behind your thermostat right now and tell me if it's an inside wall or an outside one, and tell me your state and what you pay to heat in January. And if you've ever pulled the cover off your own thermostat, tell me what was behind it, because I want to know how many of you found that hole. Now, if the brain of the system's been lying to you all this time, what do you suppose is happening down at the furnace filter you haven't looked at in a year?